The Carolina Panthers have finalized their preseason schedule. The team takes some time off to do some bonding activity and shows a little need for speed. Bryce Young takes his first step into the community doing his youth football camp. And we have a very, very interesting tweak to the Panthers offseason program. There's a bunch of things going on with this team, so let's go ahead and get into some Panthers news. Yo, what up, though? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports. So I can do recap and analysis of the Panthers on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed. I'm on my way to 15,000 subscribers. I'm almost here on that journey. A lot of people, you guys watch the videos, but you don't always subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And also give this video a thumbs up. That's all I ask for. It doesn't cost a thing. Only takes about 2 seconds. Helps me out with the engagement and whatnot. But also, we have a myriad of topics that we're going to be going over in this video. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments about any of them. Let's chop it up. I like to get a pulse on how the fan base is feeling. So I definitely need you guys' feedback down below in the comments. So let's start with the first topic of the tweak to the offseason program for the Carolina Panthers. OTAs are complete. Mandatory minicamp is coming up. It's a 3-day mandatory minicamp. Other things were voluntary. This week is mandatory. When people don't show up now, that's when you raise your eyebrows. Regardless, it's a 3-day minicamp. But the Panthers team has announced, and according to the athletic writer for the beat for the Panthers, Joe Person, it has been changed from 3-day mandatory minicamp to a 2-day mandatory minicamp. Why, you may ask? According to Joe Person in the comments, teams just elect to do this when they feel like the offseason program has been going well thus far for the team, and they feel like they can cut 1 day off, cut these guys free to have time with their family before that last time before training camp. They've been going at it since before the draft. They had those organized team activities and voluntary workouts. They had a rookie mini camp. They brought everybody together for OTAs, and they've done 3 weeks of OTAs all together. Leading up into this mandatory minicamp, they'll take a break, and then they'll come back together for training camp where it all gets rolling and we go to preseason and it's time for the regular season. Wanted to give them a little bit extra day, I guess, off. And I know some people are a little bit bothered. They're saying, hey, I know we have a new coach. We just came off a 2-15 season, dog. Why are we cutting back practices? We need as many practices as possible, especially when you only get 3 days of them in general. Why are we taking those days off? The other side is like, okay, it's one practice in June without pads or hitting. What big of a difference is that going to make in terms of week 1? So I can really see both sides of the argument, but I also understand that this team does have a long way to go, and there's going to be a lot of growth that needs to happen. Being able to get extra time together doesn't seem like it would hurt, but I also understand that I'm not going to lose sleep over them giving up one practice. But very, very interesting. But I want to get you guys' thoughts. How do you feel about them canceling one of the days of mandatory minicamp to give the team more time off? Do you think they should be stay at it because we have a lot of work to do to get where we want to be? Or do you think that since they've had a good time thus far, that they're free to go and it doesn't really matter in the big scheme? The next topic is Bryce Young actually held his first youth football camp. Now, we know Bryce Young is going into his 2nd year, but if you look at the calendar, pretty only much been a part of this franchise for over a calendar year. Obviously, in your rookie year, you're not going to do a training camp and football camp and all that stuff because you have 1,000,001 things going on. Of course. But now that he's kind of got his legs up underneath him, a full offseason program, a full offseason and a season in under his belt, this is when you start seeing guys start involving themselves more in the community. And that's exactly what Bryce Young did with this youth football camp. Registration went crazy and it filled up, and everybody and their mama and their kids, whatever, wanted to be a part of Bryce Young's football camp. There were some teammates from the Panthers there that showed up to support as well, to put kids through drills and just have fun and enjoy that as well. It seemed like a very, very good time overall. And also, Bryce Young was a part of a mental health panel just talking about mental health. And that's kind of the goal of his foundation and charity work that he does, along with just his whole mantra, because I think pretty much everybody has their kind of thing that they stand for, whatever cause they may support. But Bryce Young is just mental health in general, but also mental health for the youth, because he talks about how many times it's kind of overlooked in terms of just mental health for kids, because they are developing so much that some people just chalk it up to them just going through things or whatever, but it needs to be paid attention to. And I really think that's a good cause. Obviously, his father was a psychologist, so this is something that was emphasized on him as he was growing up as well. So it's honestly good to see him trying to do this as a for a good cause, but also putting himself as part of the community, trying to step up as a leader, not just on the field, as we've heard from Andy Dalton, that he's being a lot more vocal, kind of steering himself more more in practice, getting a little bit used to it now that he's here and not a rookie anymore, but also being a leader in the community, because we know our former QB1 Cam Newton did a lot of things in the community. He used to do the kickball stuff. He used to do Santa Cam, of course. And of course, he used to give out turkeys along with every other thing and Sunday giveaways on touchdowns. Cam Newton really made himself a part of this Charlotte city, even though he was born and raised in Atlanta. We'll see as time goes on how Bryce Young tends to move on and do more things around the holidays. And of course, once we get closer to football season, and just as the year goes on, once he gets his kind of stabilized in the time of his career, he'll start to have a better balance of on the field and off the field work. But I think it's just dope to do a dope thing like that with the youth football camp, of course, with the goal of mental health. But that's just a little segue to me for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's what June is. And let's get on my soapbox a little bit. I know sometimes we as men tend to bottle things up. I know I personally do this. You don't always want to put a burden on somebody else, and you have to kind of put on this facade because in society we got to be a guy that's buttoned up and be all tough or whatever. But I think that it's a good thing to point out that you should just check on your fellow brother, man. I mean, you know that how men are. We just keep stuff together, but sometimes we all we got. Sometimes you just got to check in on, not just how you doing and just like, I'm good. Nah, ask them really how they are. Like, bro, how you doing? You good? Everything good? The family straight? Your head straight? Like, you just never know who needs what out there, man. Like I said, a lot of times we go through stuff on our own because we feel like we have to, but you may not want to go to talk to somebody professional. Do something for take care of your mental health, man. Hit the gym, hit the barbershop, chop it up, talk to your homeboys there, talk to your barber. You know what I'm saying? Go out and get some drinks with your homeboy. Do something like that. Just find somewhere in an avenue to really just kind of express yourself, unwind, and get your head together, man. Take care of your chicken. Take care of your mentals, like Marshawn Lynch used to say. But for real, man, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, man. So I feel like I had to put that out there, man. I'm gonna try to do the work myself and not just talk about it, but also trying to hit up my homeboys and just check on all my other brothers out there. So the Panthers had some downtime in between OTAs, and they decided to go to the Speedway and check out some NASCAR work. They went to Hendrick Speedway, and of course, they met up with a lot of members of the team. Of course, Jeff Gordon, none other than him, was there. So he took a picture with Dave Canales. He got him a Panthers jersey as well. It was a lot of fun to see all the content that came out. They had a lot of the big boys up front on the offensive line that got to ride shotgun and get ride along and going super fast on that track in that number 51 car. Shout out to Sam Mills. But of course, they did pit crew races and relays and contests, and the competition got real. You can see Bryce Young and Dane Jackson tag team in a wheel there. And of course, this clip went viral. It'll probably be something that fans troll us about during the year. If Bryce Young plays bad, they'll say that he needs to quit being the quarterback and find another job, and this will be his day job and changing tires. Regardless, it was funny to see how competitive Bryce Young got about stuff like this, along with the whole team, and just see the dynamic of Dane Jackson, who's a cornerback that was a free agent, and Bryce Young, two guys that you don't really see crossing paths in terms of on the field or just in general from the videos that we see. Actually bond, actually chop it up, have a good time. It just lets you know how much of a brotherhood football in general is, but hopefully this team becomes, because we know that that camaraderie is going to spill over to the field when you go to war with your brother like that. Being able to bond and stay tight makes you want to put things on the line, and man, and just not want to let your brother down in terms of that. So this team building, this camaraderie, this is what I love to see, because granted, I'm not saying we're going to be a Super Bowl team, but during that 2015 year, we knew that they had a lot of fun. They really liked each other. There were a lot of personalities. Some of our best years for the Panthers when the teams were super close to each other. We saw that with the all or nothing behind the scenes, how these guys interacted. It's just a good thing to put in this type of work. The last topic is the Panthers announced the official preseason schedule for the team. And of course, there's 3 preseason games thanks to that 17 game schedule. Out of the 3 games, of course, only 1 game is a home game, because the Panthers this year, they technically have 9 home games, even though 1 of them will be in Germany. So that home game is going to be against none other than the New York Jets. So the Panthers schedule is as follows. Panthers open up on August 8th with a night game at 7 o'clock at the New England Patriots. Week 2 of preseason is going to be August 17th against the New York Jets at 7 o'clock at home. And of course, the final preseason game is at the Buffalo Bills on August 24th at 1 o'clock game precisely. But what also was announced just probably a week and a half ago is the Panthers will be conducting 1 joint practice, and that will be with the New York Jets, the New York Football Jets, yet again. Yes, the Jets will be coming to town, this time not to the upstate of South Carolina, but to Charlotte to do joint practices. Now, me last year, you know, I was in attendance at the joint practice, and there were a number of squabbles that happened in that one day of practice. Yes, the second day got rained out, but that first day had enough squabbles for 2 days. These guys were going at it. I'm talking Stephen Sullivan, Hayden Hurst went at it. Just a lot of testosterone spilling over. Guys were just going crazy left and right. But it was a very interesting practice because we got to go against Aaron Rodgers. The hype was ridiculous. There were so many people in attendance. I'm just curious, as a little side nugget, what they plan on doing. I know they're training, they haven't announced if training camp is going to be open or what yet. They're working on that field house. It's going through all the government permitting and all that stuff. But the capacity that was at that training camp in Spartanburg is going to be a lot of space needed to accommodate Panthers fans and also all those Jets fans. Now, hype may not be at an all-time high because Aaron Rodgers has been around one time before. So, however, I feel like there's a lot more Jets fans in the city of Charlotte than there are in Spartanburg, or that were willing to make that trek to Spartanburg. So it could be chaos. I'll be paying attention to what they do in terms of just seating capacity there, or if it'll be open at all. Who knows? But regardless, I think last year told us a lot. We learned, even though Quentin Williams is very, very elite, he went on Hard Knocks capping, talking about he had 10 sacks. That wasn't true. But he did expose the fact that our interior offensive line was as bad as we thought. I told you guys that it had been rough for the interior just before that because they couldn't block Derrick Brown. But having another elite defensive tackle like Quentin Williams come in was another thing to expose how things went. And then we know that spilled over into the preseason game. Bryce Young got beat up a little bit. Of course, Icky struggled at times just because they have so much depth on their defensive line. Coach Dave Canales pointed out that's the reason why he has some appeal to do that. The Jets run a traditional 4-man front, a 4-3 defense where they rush 4 guys, and that's not something that we get to see in practice. And Giro Rivera runs that 3-4 defense that sometimes has a 5-man front. So things are a little bit different, a different style there. They'll get a chance to get a traditional work against a traditional D-line that's very, very talented in the New York Jets, whether it's Hassan Reddick, Huff, or any other guy that they may have coming off the edge that I'm forgetting. So it'll be interesting, and our offensive line will be tested. We will get to figure out if that money we spent at guard is worth it soon and very soon. I know we thought it might have been a little bit too much to worry about last year, but it ended up being a telltale sign of things to come. Also, the Panthers defense will get tested by an elite quarterback right away, but also give guys like J.C. Horn a good chance to go against an elite, top-notch wide receiver like Garrett Wilson. As we get more details, we'll talk about the cross matches there, but you guys know I will be all over it. I am your training camp correspondent, so I will be all over it. I am very, very excited about this. You guys let me know down below in the comments if training camp is open. Do you plan on trying to come to the Jets joint practice? Because there's going to be a lot of people in the building. It's going to be very, very interesting. Let me know if you plan on attending any of those joint practices that they do. But that's pretty much it for the Panthers news. If I missed anything, let me know down below in the comments. I really appreciate you guys watching. Let me know how you feel about any topic we discussed. I'm Aaron Duncan here. Make sure you are subscribed to Unnecessary Bluntness to get all the latest Panthers news, updates, breaks down, and all of the above. I'll see you next time. Peace.